So, can it become a force in American politics? Joining me now from Orlando is former Democratic Congressman Alan Grayson. He has called the Republican Party a wholly owned subsidiary of Wall Street and accuses his own party of, quote, catering to them as well. It's great to have you on the show, Congressman. Really appreciate it. Let me ask you this. It's a year later. Is Occupy Wall Street still relevant?
Yes, it is, because what Occupy Wall Street was about is relevant, and that's the growing inequality in America. That hasn't changed in the past 12 months. Doesn't seem like it's likely to change anytime soon. We have almost 25 million people in this country who can't find full-time work. We have almost 50 million people in this country who can't see a doctor when they're sick. We have 47 million people in this country who rely upon the government to feed them with food stamps. We have 40 million people in this country who live in homes where the mortgage is worth more than the home. These are problems that are caused by the growing inequality in America. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. That's what Occupy Wall Street was all about.
Let me ask you, though, about some of the criticisms. I'm sure you've heard them as well. It was disjointed. There really wasn't much cohesion. There was perhaps way too much democracy. Everybody had a voice, and yet there was no real voice for this movement. They didn't have a real spokesperson. Do you think those complaints are legitimate, and do you think they dropped the ball in a sense?
Well, you know, the same thing can be said of any mass movement when it starts out. Sometimes it catches fire, sometimes it peters out. Sometimes people get organized, sometimes they don't. I mean, maybe you would have said the same thing about the Solidarity movement in Poland at its genesis 30 plus years ago. That took 15 years to come to full fruition and to liberate Poland and to change the regime there. It's too early to say. What I can tell you is that the problems that they were talking about, the inequality in America and the resulting social dysfunction, those problems have not gone away.
I want to play a clip for you that was leaked out earlier this week by Republican presidential candidate Mitt Romney. He isn't talking about the 99%, but he is talking about a large percentage of the American populace. Let's listen to this clip, and I want to get your reaction.
There are 47% of the people who will vote for the president no matter what. All right, there are 47% who are with him, who are dependent upon government, who believe that they are victims, who believe that government has a responsibility to care for them, who believe that they're entitled to health care, to food, to housing, to you name it. But it's an entitlement, and government should give it to them. And they will vote for this president no matter what.
Governor Romney seems to have a tremendous amount of disdain. He's not talking about 99%, as I mentioned, 47%. What are your thoughts when you listen to this clip?
Well, what he doesn't seem to understand is that these are benefits that people paid for. They're social insurance. When somebody receives Social Security in America, that's not welfare. That's something that they paid for. When somebody receives Medicare or unemployment insurance or student loans, that's something that we all pay for collectively. It's an investment in the future, and it's a way to make life livable for those people who have been less fortunate. He mocks that, and it's understandable. This is a man whose car has an elevator. He simply doesn't understand what it's like to have to worry about how you're going to pay your rent, how you're going to pay your credit card bill. In some cases, how are you going to eat? He has no way to relate to people who have lost their homes, lost their jobs. It's never happened to him. His father was fabulously wealthy. He's grown up in a cloistered environment to the point where he actually believes that a middle-class person in a country where the median income is $50,000, Romney believes that a middle-class person is someone who makes $250,000. He's literally out of touch.
Well, is that
completely out of touch with the lives of ordinary people.
Is that symptomatic of the Republican Party and perhaps your party as well?
Oh, it's definitely not true of my party. I mean, I got through college scrubbing toilets. There's a lot of people in my party who grew up in very insecure circumstances. In my case, my parents' union health care coverage is what kept me alive. And the fact that the union kept that coverage in effect when my parents went on strike twice when I was growing up is what kept me alive. No, I think that there's many people, particularly in my party, who understand that you deserve an honest day's work for an honest day's pay, an honest day's pay for an honest day's work, and understand that sometimes you have problems in your life that you just can't solve on your own, and you need a helping hand. And if people are paying for that through the government, through unemployment insurance, through Medicare, through Social Security, and the result of that is that we have an American population that does not have to work until they die. For us Democrats, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. In the case of the Republican Party, they gave that all up a long time ago. For the past several years, at least the past 5 years, the only thing that they care about is tax breaks for the rich.